Hi everyone and welcome to another Mixed Media Tuesday, and today the inspiration comes from a box that I got by Viola Craft. So I will show you what is included. There are two journals, this is the shop and I do have a coupon code for you. You will find it on screen as well as in the description, all the details. And here is what was included. So a spatula, some brushes, my matte medium glue, the white acrylic paint that I always like to use. This is a Crackle Paste that I haven't used before, so we are going to explore it today. It gives a lovely finish, you will see. And the idea today is to stay kind of restricted on what was in the box and just play with what we have. Sometimes it is overwhelming when you have lots of supplies, so it is always fun to challenge yourself to play with only a few products. So this is a shadow patina. You can apply it with a brush and it adds shadows just like it says. It is a dark brown, by the way. Now these are decorative chips and I absolutely love that fence. The stencil is one of those super versatile ones, and most of the products that are included in this box are from the Garden collection by Stamperia. It's an older collection and many of you probably have some in your stash. So that's what I will be playing today. I have the 8x8 pattern paper, the fabric, as well as some of the rice papers. And I will try to incorporate lots of texture today on my art journal. So you will see that I will use paper, paste, fabric, as well as the decorative chips to add tons of interest. Now all the products that you see from the Garden collection are on sale, but I do have a coupon code for you which is on top of the sale. So you can take advantage and stock up on Stamperia products along with their sales and the extra coupon code. Now, keep in mind that Viola Craft is in Europe. It is located in Hungary. So if you are from Europe, you don't have to pay crazy custom fees or shipping. Now, I am going to work on the 6x6 watercolor journal that I have, and this is the one that was included on my box, but since I do have some empty pages here yet to finish this journal, let's continue on what I already have. This is watercolor paper, by the way, and it's a journal from my own signature collection with Stamperia. So let's start with today's page, and I'm going to play with rice paper as my background. I'm going to use my scissors and just pick bits and pieces from this rice paper that are mainly backgrounds. I'm not going to touch the focal points because I can definitely use them for other projects, but I will just cut out bits and pieces that you see. They already look like patchwork or layered papers, one on top of the other. Absolutely love that, and I think that it would make a great background as well. So also the colors are muted, like pale browns and ivory colors and everything, so they are great for backgrounds. I tend to use backgrounds that are kind of muted so that they can help my focal points pop even more. And since at this stage I don't know what I'm going to use as a focal point, I like to work kind of muted so that no matter what I choose to do on top, it's going to be easy for me to put it together. Now here I'm debating whether I want to bring in some of that wood, but I decided not to. And I am going to stick everything down by using my rice paper glue. Now I didn't want to bore you to death, so I speed up this process 2 times. I'm not that fast. But I get a lot of questions about the rice paper glue and why I tend to use it. You can use any matte medium that you have, any liquid glue that you have. I just like this one because it doesn't smell, it's very thin, it dries completely matte, and I can use it to cover up the rice paper as well to make sure that it is nice and sealed down. So here I'm using my heat gun to make sure that this step is completely dry. And now I'm going to move on and use my acrylic paint. This is titanium white, and with a very stiff brush I'm going to apply the paint. You can definitely do that with spatula, sometimes I do that. But here I just wanted to end up with brush strokes, that's why I'm using a very stiff brush which is completely dry. So you can see the brush strokes here and there really randomly, and it really adds that artistic look, plus it makes the background look less busy, so it's going to help the focal points too. I'm adding some water on that blob of acrylic paint so that I can add some splatters. I don't want anything to go to waste. And I'm going to use my heat gun to make sure that everything is dry before I move on to the next step. Now usually I would grab my stamps, but I do have lots of stamping, lots of black at the back, so I'm just going to omit stamping for this project today. And I will move on to stenciling, and this time I'm going to do stenciling with my Crackle Paste. This is thick and easy to apply with a spatula, as you can see, but it's going to crackle. So I am going to apply it randomly in a few areas. I'm trying to make it look organic. I don't want to end up with big rectangles or squares. And also I'm going to apply some directly on top of the project with my spatula. I'm trying to have some areas which are thicker and others which have thinner crackle paste on top, because I want you to see in close-up photos the difference on how you apply it. And I will talk about it a little bit more once I show you the finished result. Let me clean up my spatula and my stencil. Here is a close-up look on how the project looks at the moment. The crackle paste is still wet, so you cannot see any crackles, but with the magic of video editing I'm going to show you how it looks. So here are still photos of the finished project, and you can see how big those crackles are when the paste is applied really thick. And here is a photo of thinner crackles where the paste is very thin. By the way, I didn't use my heat gun to dry the paste. You can definitely do that if you want. I just let it aside and I'm working on the focal points now. So I am browsing through the 8x8 and I can find lovely focal points like the birds, for example. There are bird houses as well, lots of pots that you can use and cut out. So I decided to recreate that cluster with the butterflies that I had in my rice paper, and you can see it here. And I plan to combine this pattern paper with the butterflies from the rice paper, which are slightly bigger. So what I'm doing here is using my scissors to cut out bits and pieces, just like I did with the rice paper for the background, but this time I'm going to layer all those things just to add dimension. And then I want to have the bigger butterflies, but this piece is the rice paper piece. So I'm going to use my rice paper glue and stick it on this scrap piece of white cardstock. This way I'm going to turn the butterflies into cardstock. I will be able to easily cut them out, fuzzy cut them, and use them as focal points on my project. So what I'm doing here is collecting all the elements that I will be using to create my cluster, my focal point cluster. And since I do have the fabric from the same collection, let's use some of it just to add some extra texture. What I like to do is to use my scissors and I kind of create ribbons, let's say. And I like to tear them off, as you can see, because I love that frayed edge that I get on both sides. So I do have everything now, and let's create our cluster. And there are some things that I always like to do on my pieces to help them stand against each other. So I'm just inking up the edges, making them slightly darker. This is going to help when I layer everything. And also I'm using my scissors, and with the edge I'm going to distress the edges all over the place so that they are kind of frayed and stand out against each other as well. Now I sped up the video 2 times so that it doesn't take forever to do the clustering, and for some strange reason that I don't know, instead of doing the clustering directly on top of my page, I'm just doing it on the fly. I don't know why. Don't ask me, sometimes I just do things with no reason. I am going to create my layers, just stick all the bits and pieces behind, underneath, and although it kind of looks flat on screen, trust me, it is really dimensional, because although I don't add in between foam squares or anything, all the layering is visible, and especially because the edges are all frayed. So now I am also going to stick down some ribbon. The cluster I created goes on top, and then on top of that I want to add some extra ribbon, which this time I'm going to make even more dimensional. And I absolutely love how it looks. Now let's add the butterflies, which are going to be the main focal point, slightly bigger than the design underneath. And I will allow myself to some dimension. Usually I don't want to add too much bulk inside the page, but a few squares will not hurt anyone. And also this journal is kind of flat, so I can definitely add some dimension with no issues at all. Now this looks stunning already. I'm absolutely happy with the color combination and the clustering, but let's add even more interest and dimension and texture by bringing in the decorative chips. So I'm really in love with this shape here. I'm going to use my scissors and cut out bits and pieces that I can layer between the layers that I already have. Now, one thing that I always make sure is not to add glue all the way to the edges when I'm doing clustering. This is going to allow for to change your mind or to layer other things underneath if you decide to do so, just like I did here. Now usually I do some doodling at this stage with my white gel pen or my black marker, but for this project I'm just using a dry stiff brush with white acrylic paint and just add some details here and there, kind of recreating the look that I have on the background. I even touch slightly the butterflies. And of course I do have lots of splattering at the background, so let's recreate that. Just dilute the acrylic paint with water and add lots of splattering on top to bring all the elements together, the same detail on the background and on top of the clusters. And now let me show you up close how it looks with all the different textures, and I'm going to add a motivational word to finish it off. I'm going to go with possibility, and I will just stick it on top of the garden word. And I'm just using my white gel pen to outline the sticker. So that was a project for today. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. Links to everything I used can be found down below in the description. Don't forget the 10% coupon code. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.